Describe a time when you wore your best clothes. Oh, tricky question, right? Well, let's see how to handle this IELTS Speaking Part 2 question on the topic of clothes. So, in this part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic. Lucky you! Great! And you're going to speak about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Right, yeah. You can make some notes if you wish. I'll give you a pen. Oh dear. El Cheapo. Wait a minute. I'll give you a pen. There we go. Nice quality pen for you there. Great. And some paper so you can make some notes if you choose. And I do recommend you use that paper to make notes, right, for the preparation of part 2. And here is your task card. I'd like you to describe a time when you wore your best clothes. Yo, yeah. Yeah, check it out. While our nice friend over there is getting ready for a minute, I've got a few things, right? These are Stan the Man's top tips for preparing part 2. Number 1, right? Don't waste time thinking of lots of ideas like the wedding, or is it a party, or is it the graduation ceremony? No, just take the first one, right, and go with it. Wedding, bam, do that. Great. Now, after that, you want to spend a bit of time thinking about the structure. Maybe follow the bullet points. You can. You don't have to, but you can. And just write down a couple of words for each one of them. So that then you've got a plan, like the where, the when, the who, right? Where it was in England, when I got married, who, it was Uncle Thomas. I didn't marry Uncle Thomas, no, but Uncle Thomas came to the wedding. Anyway, you write down a couple of words for each one so that when you're speaking, right, you've got your notes in front of you. Don't give them back. You can use those for when you're speaking, right? Really helps you have a bit of a structure. Right, I'm a bit late. I know it's a minute, but don't worry. It's a video. I can edit it. So, and tip number 3 is the first sentence you're going to say, right? Plan it out so that you're crystal clear, the first sentence. So when you start speaking, you are Mr. Confident, right? I'm going to tell you about the time when I got married, for example. Crystal clear. Impress Stan the Man, the examiner. Lovely. Let me get back to our friend. So, my friend, remember, you've got 1 to 2 minutes for this. Don't worry if I stop you, and I probably will, but I will tell you when the time is up. All right then, can you start speaking? Wait for it. Now. So yes, I'd like to talk about my wedding. Yes, okay, I'll talk about my wedding, which took place a few years ago in the UK. It was springtime. It must have been late April, and I remember that because the weather was taking a turn for the better. So when it comes to clothes, I'm not very fashion conscious. You know, I don't always wear the top brands, but, you know, I do like to dress up and look smart now and again. I'd say I tend to go for a more classic look, really. Anyway, for the big day, I chose to wear a 2-piece suit. It was a lovely, soft kind of shade of green, you know, the jacket and the trousers. I decided also to sport a rather flamboyant and colourful tie, actually, that I thought was a really nice compliment for the suit. As for the shoes, well, I opted for the most formal pair of shoes that I had. And that was these brown Oxford style shoes, you know, quite stylish but comfy. And so, yes, when it comes to the reason, for these clothes, well, I guess on the one hand, a wedding it's traditional, right? And it's an event where people traditionally dress up and look very smart. But on the other hand, I also had one eye on the photo shoot because I didn't want to look back years later and think, gosh, I was dressed far too informal, casual, and even shabby. So I wanted to make a real effort to look good, right? So that was it. I felt it was really important. I felt really good. I think it's nice to dress up to the nines, especially for these really special events. And that's the time when I wore my best clothes. So let's find out how the candidate, well, I did. Before we do though, a quick shout out and a big thanks to the guys at Cambly who are sponsoring this video. Cambly is an online platform, and if you're looking for a teacher to practice your speaking, maybe your IELTS questions like this one, Cambly is the place to do it. It's a high quality platform with native English speaking teachers where you can choose the time you want to study, the teacher you want to study with, and how you study. Cambly also have online courses that you can follow and also help you with your IELTS preparation. If you decide to find a teacher on Cambly, you can use the code below to get discounts off their offers. But not only that, it gets better. Once again, we're going to do a lucky draw today. And this means that one person out there, it could be you, will get 60 minutes free to practice speaking English with a teacher on Cambly. All you have to do is comment on this video, comment down below, tell me what you think about the video, and then you will automatically go into the lucky draw and I will pick out one person to be the winner. Now let's see how I did on the topic of clothes. Let's have a look at some of the language and techniques that I used to give this answer to the IELTS Speaking Part 2 question on the topic of clothes. First of all, remember, when you make notes, right, you should keep those notes and the task card when you're talking, because that's going to help you structure and deliver your talk. Only at the end of part 2, when you've finished talking, you hand it back to the examiner, right? Okay, so how did I do? This is a tricky question. I mean, first of all, describing a time when you wore your best clothes, you need to think, of different occasions. I talked about a wedding, but you could talk about different things. Maybe a festival, a religious festival, maybe Christmas, Easter, Diwali, or another. You could talk about parties, from birthday parties to anniversaries to housewarmings, right? All of those. You could talk about having some people round for dinner, or going out for dinner, going to the restaurant. Also, graduation ceremonies, possibly, or Valentine's Day. That's a time when you should be dressing up to the nines and looking really smart. So these maybe are different ideas you could talk about. Now, let's have a look at the language I used. First of all, notice that I completely ignored Stan's advice, Stan the man, of preparing the first sentence. I was all bumbling and I was all fingers and thumbs, right? I was confused and I didn't give a clear first sentence. Would be a good idea to follow Stan's advice. Get that first sentence clear and it gives you confidence and clarity for the examiner. I mean, just go directly into what you're going to talk about. So I chose the topic of weddings and I talked about the wedding and where it took place. It was in the spring. It must have been late April. That's a lovely structure to throw in, right? When you're pretending, or you're not sure, or you're pretending to not be sure when exactly, it must have been. It's a modal with the present perfect, and it will show off your grammar, but used naturally, it's really nice. It must have been 2 years ago. It must have been in April, right? So it's must have, right? Must have becomes must have. It must have been becomes shorter, becomes weak, been. It must have been 2 years ago. It must have been last April, right? Nice little grammar snippet. And then I said the weather was taking a turn for the better. So when something is bad and it starts to get better, we can say it's taking a turn for the better. Or the opposite, it's taking a turn for the worse, if that's the case. And then I made a connection, right? I began talking about clothes and my attitude to clothes. When it comes to clothes, when it comes to something, 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 that's a really nice little filler or connector that you can use. When it comes to clothes, I'm not very fashion conscious. Lovely collocation, fashion conscious, right? Being aware of fashion or being very fashionable, if you like. I don't wear top brands. Top brands, maybe your Gucci, your Armani, your Tommy Hilfiger. But I like to dress up and look smart. So dress up is when not just putting on clothes, but putting on nice clothes and looking smart, right? I like to dress up for a party. I tend to go for a more classic look. So yes, I tend to go for a classic look is I tend to wear or I tend to choose a classic look. The classic look, what is that? I guess it's a bit more conventional, traditional, something that is simple but stylish, I would say. There are different types of look, right? You can go for an elegant look, go for a chic look, go for a casual look, go for a sexy look, all different kinds of phrases and looks you can use. So I chose to wear a two-piece suit. So a two-piece suit is the jacket and the trousers. In Britain, we say trousers. In America, they say pants. So you've got the jacket or the blazer and the trousers. A three-piece suit would be jacket, waistcoat under the jacket and the trousers. If you are a woman, then maybe you wear a blouse and pants, or a jacket and trousers, maybe a pantsuit, maybe, I don't know, something else. Maybe a smart outfit, a formal outfit. Then I talked about a lovely soft shade of green. A shade of green is just a different kind of green. It can be dark, it can be light. So we can talk about a shade of blue, a shade of pink, shade of black, whatever. And then I decided, or I wanted to sport a colourful and flamboyant tie. Interesting that I say to sport a tie. That just means to wear a tie. To sport something, some item of clothing, is to wear something that is special or distinct, something that maybe captures people's attention, right? I'm going to sport a lovely bright hat. I'm going to sport a flamboyant tie. Flamboyant is something that attracts people's attention, something exuberant. Maybe it's a bright colour. Maybe it has a very funny pattern. But flamboyant, it will attract people's attention. We can talk about flamboyant architecture, flamboyant personality, flamboyant ties as well. To complement the suit or to be a complement for the suit, a nice little collocation, meaning that it goes well together with that. So this tie complements the suit. This shirt doesn't complement my jumper, but I was in a rush. Now, then I moved into the next bit to talk about shoes, and I did it with a nice connector. As for shoes, right? As for shoes, notice the for becomes f. As for shoes, great. You can use that in any connector. As for the location, as for the event, as for the people who were there, da, 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 da. So as for the shoes, I opted for the most formal shoes I had. To opt for is a nice way of saying to choose. I opted for my formal shoes, the Oxford style shoes. You'll have to go and look at that on Google to check it. And likewise, as I connect to talk about the reason, right? I don't just go in and say the reason is. When it comes to the reason, when it comes to blah, 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 it's a really nice connector, right? When it comes to the reason for these clothes, I had two things, right? On the one hand, on the other hand, it's traditional, of course. I had one eye on the photo shoot. I had one eye on the photo shoot. Means I was thinking about, I was considering, taking into account, or I was almost looking at. So I was thinking about the photo shoot. I had one eye on the photo shoot. The photo shoot is the famous moment at the wedding where you take photos of you, the bride, the groom, and all of the family. And of course, I didn't want to be casual, informal, or shabby. Shabby is a bit of a mess, to be honest. And the final idiom was to dress up to the nines. I really like to dress up to the nines, is to dress very, very smartly. Excellent. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Keith and I run the Keith Speaking Academy. Here to help you speak better English, give better answers and get a higher score on the IELTS speaking test. So again, a big thank you to Cambly for sponsoring this video, and a reminder for all of you, we're doing a lucky draw, right? All you need to do is leave a comment below on this video, something you liked or disliked, anything you want to say. And then your name will enter this big digital hat and we'll choose one winner to get 60 minutes free on Cambly with the teacher of your choice. Fantastic. It doesn't get any better. So from the release of the video, you will have 48 hours to comment and all of those comments will go into the draw. So that's it. Make the most of this chance to get 60 minutes with a native English speaker on Cambly. So that's it. I hope this has helped you get ideas, language, vocabulary to answer this IELTS speaking part 2 question, all on the topic of clothes. If you've enjoyed this video and you want more, you may want to keep an eye on or think about my online course, IELTS Speaking Success, Get a Band 7+. The links are below. It's on Udemy and it will really help you level up your English and get better and better answers for IELTS speaking. Go and check it out. In the meantime, remember, do subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications. If you've liked the video, please do like it and share it. And I can't wait to see you here again next week. Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.